Hello and welcome to the channel. Today I am reviewing these three figures as they appeared in the film Batman vs Superman Dawn of Justice. Now the figure Wonder Woman is from the Flash movie Shazam! Fury of the Gods, played by Gal Gadot. What I decided to do was to put the shield and the sword from a couple of Wonder Woman figures I have in my collection to add to the look that she had in that movie, and I do like that pose. And then we've got, of course, my latest acquisition to the Justice League and final member to complete the lineup, Henry Cavill, Superman. Really do like that. And my last bit of footage on my channel was of BVS Batman, because I wanted to see what he looked like with this weapon, played by Ben Affleck, and I do like that pose. So what I'll be doing is I'll put each character to the front of the platform and pose them out and leave the others alone. The first character I put at the front, of course, is Henry Cavill, Laser Vision, Superman. And I love that detail. I'm pleased to hear that they are actually bringing out the black version of this figure, so I will pick that up, because in the Justice League movie in which he fights Steppenwolf, he is in the black Superman outfit. So let's change out the pose for Wonder Woman and move Superman onto the left side of the platform. So Wonder Woman is now in the centre of the platform, slightly posed out, shield raised, sword raised, stance widened. And I like to, as I say, pose out my figures, which is the whole point of this channel. It's about posing the figures, seeing what you can get out of them, the dynamics, and that seems nice on camera. I'd like to do one with the tiara actually, because we do know that she uses the tiara as a weapon. If I can get that pose in today without it being too fiddly, I will. But I do like that. And Superman, I've actually pulled his arms back as though he's about to unleash those laser vision eyes. And we know he does that in the movie. So that's nice. I've changed the fluttering effect on the cloak. That sounded a bit tongue twisted. So I've changed the fluttering effect on the cloak. That's what I meant to say. And then we come over to Batman. I put a batarang in his hand. He's holding on to the weapon with one hand. And I'm going to like this Batman. Would have liked the blue wash on the suit to be a bit darker, but it is actually sort of this colour in the movie because I've recently watched it. So now we'll put Batman in the centre and give him a different pose and change out the poses on the other figures. So we've got Batman in the centre platform now. I've dispersed with the weapon and given him his batarangs. And that's not a bad pose for him. I've actually pushed back one element of his cape and brought that one forward more. Part of his problem actually is not a wide cape, but if you know how to go about it, you can create the illusion of the cape naturally flowing off the figure, which isn't easy, because if it looks ruffled, it kind of, well, it ruins the whole pose really. So I try and get the natural flow of the cape coming off the figure if it hasn't got a wire. Of course, like Superman, if he has a wire, you can do what you like. And I do like that pose. I've had him on the one knee pose. I don't know if I've done that on camera. I might do that today, I'm not sure. And then we come over to Wonder Woman. Kind of done a sideways on, and I've had her on the one knee pose, but I don't think I'll do that today. because this is more fiddly, mainly because of the tiara and that lasso of truth. But overall, I like her look. I like the dynamics of those three. So what I'll do is one final pose and I'll bring in another figure. Now, the reason these three got together was, of course, Superman had to take on Doomsday, which was created by Lex Luthor. And we know that he does die in that film. But he does come back in the Justice League to take on Steppenwolf, who's trying to pave the way for his master, Darkseid, to come to Earth and conquer it. But this is the kind of first appearance of Superwoman, Wonder Woman meeting Batman and Superman. And initially you remember the line when Batman says, "Is she with you?" And Superman says, "No, I thought she was with you." So this is the kind of scene when these three first appear in the film. Batman versus Superman, Dawn of Justice. So let's get one more figure out here and then we'll call it a day. So before I bring back the other two, I thought I'd get these two guys together. Now I know this one isn't the movie one, but I bought this some time ago. And that is Martian Manhunter, because as you know, in Justice League at the end, we see the Nightmare Batman sequence, and we also see this, in which he appears to Bruce Wayne and says he's here to help for the coming war with Darkseid. And he was my personal favourite choice, because there were some variants out there of this figure that Todd McFarlane released. And when I was in the toy outlet where I normally get my McFarlane's figures, there was a version of this without the trousers on and the diaper look, or I call it the Speedo swimming trunks look. But I like this look, and it's a nice figure. And I put a batarang in his hand from my Christian Bale Batman, just for effect. But I like the idea of these two. And if they ever do get round to going for that Justice League storyline with Darkseid, it'd be good to see what part Martian Manhunter plays in the role. But that's the two of them, and I'm going to bring back the other two figures and finish off this review. So I've actually just brought Wonder Woman back because I was curious to see what it was like on camera to see her without that tiara. And I do like that. I just wanted to see what that looked like. And I wanted to see what she looked like with just the two of them. I might do the same for Batman with his batarangs, which is what I'll do now. So I'll just pause it again. So yeah, I brought Batman back now. I've just tried to work with that cape a bit more. Really flare it out. Keep his batarangs. And I don't mind that pose. The challenge again, as I said, is to create some sort of dynamic with the cape, and its weakness is it does not have wire, but that doesn't look too bad. And I do like posing this figure with the batarangs actually. I've got some good ones with him with the batarangs, but I'm going to put him back with that weapon you saw earlier on in the review. And then Martian Man slightly changed his position. You wouldn't notice it really. But yeah, I brought him into the equation because, as you know, he does appear at the end of the Justice League movie. And I do like this figure. My friend has the movie version. Check out Ray Ray's collection and subscribe. And that is awesome. But that movie version actually, I think he could have a thicker set body. He's kind of slim, but the look is there, and I never get tired of looking at that figure when I go and see my mate. And then Superman, I've posed him slightly differently, tilted his head upwards as though he's about to unleash that laser vision. So let's bring Wonder Woman back out for the final bit. Okay, let's bring out Wonder Woman and finish this off. So this is the last bit now. Collectively, all the figures you've seen today are all together on the platform, and I posed them out all differently. So we'll come to Wonder Woman first, and I figured out actually, because we see her with the shield attached to her back, this figure doesn't come with that facility. But I've worked out that if you can wedge the hair between the body and the shield, it will stay there. I don't often pose her this way, but I just thought it'd be nice to create that effect, and you can get the sword clipped into that shield to have that effect as well. I might show you that one day, but that's a nice pose for her. And then we've got Batman with the weapon back in his hand, and as I said before on the last bit of footage I did of this man, he does have the same weapon on a smaller scale that I've used with him in the past, but I decided to go with the bigger weapon, and I think the bigger the weapon with this figure, the more dynamic and better it looks. And then last but not least, Martian Manhunter. I've changed his angle and his pose, and one of the reasons I'm doing this today is to review him as well, because I don't think I've ever reviewed him, but I do love that figure. He's my personal choice, even though Todd McFarlane has done quite a few variants on him. I like him. And to Superman, kind of got me into flight mode, just about to unleash the laser vision, and I've created a different dynamic with his cape, but I like the way these all look together collectively. And on that note, I'll say thanks for watching, and I'll see you again next time.